Please come.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Please be seated.
Thank you, sir.
Aniruddh, please say something about yourself.
Sir, my name is Aniruddh Yadav. I was born in Chandigarh in 1996. So subsequently, I've completed my schooling from Delhi in science subjects. So then I went on to do my engineering in biochemical engineering and biotechnology from IIT Delhi. So currently, I'm an officer trainee in the Indian Information Service. And so my hobbies include studying the prevention and causes of aging, and so watching and playing football and squash.
How do you compare Delhi and Chandigarh? You have stayed in both the places.
Sir, I believe so Chandigarh is relative to Delhi. It's a more planned city. It's cleaner, so with respect to the environment, such as there is more green area, so the air pollution is lesser. However, sir, I feel Delhi has a certain home-like, so it has a certain home-like appearance, and so the people are a lot warmer than Chandigarh, in my personal experience, sir.
People are more warmer than in Chandigarh.
Sir.
What are the other distinction between city of Delhi and Chandigarh?
So both of them are capitals, sir. Delhi is the national capital, while Chandigarh is the capital of two states, sir. So other than that, sir, Delhi is a lot larger than Chandigarh. So Delhi is also an industrial hub, while Chandigarh is largely known for governance of Punjab and Haryana and is often called pensioners' paradise. So, sir, the industrial and so the vibrancy in terms of services sector and the industrial sector is not there in Chandigarh as much as it is there in Delhi, sir.
Your hobby is studying causes and prevention of ages.
Sir.
So can you just highlight what are the conclusions you have reached so far?
So the primary conclusion that I have reached is that the age-old wisdom that exercising regularly, having a healthy diet, and so ensuring that you don't do excess of anything and staying away from bad habits can ensure a long and youthful lifestyle.
That is prevention. What are the causes? Opposite of that is the cause.
So the primary cause occurs at a cellular level, where the efficiency of individual cells goes down as one ages. So this can be seen in the example of when one gets hurt after the age of 50, it takes longer for the body to recover. So this is primarily because of 2 or 3 genes that have been identified by scientists as of 2015, and the functioning of these genes reduces in the body as one ages. And now, sir, this process has become reversible, and this has happened in a lot of model organisms, and this is very new research that has come out where we have conclusively found out the cause of aging, sir.
And it is also expected by 2034 you will have this in practice where you can leave the age group in which you want to live forever.
Indeed, sir.
Jeff, what are the issues which are basically plaguing India's higher education system?
So the first issue is the fact that there is the general enrollment rate is about 26% compared to a over 85% enrollment rate in secondary schools. So followed by this is the issue of gender parity in a lot of subjects, especially the STEM subjects. And so this gender parity, which was somewhere becoming equal by 2019-20, has after COVID seen a slide, and so females are a lot lesser than males now as of 2022. So apart from that, so there is the issue of research and development funds, where only a very few Indian institutes are producing quality research, while a lot of the other institutes are not having substantial research facilities. So fourthly is the issue of colleges coming up which do not provide quality education and are somewhere only giving fake degrees in exchange for money, sir.
Why large number of students go abroad?
So perhaps the first reason is that Indian system is so competitive that getting into a quality institution in India requires one to clear a number of examinations, and individuals can pay money and get the same quality of education abroad. So the second reason would be the fact that the job opportunities abroad are more lucrative than they are in India in certain fields.
Why can't the government of India can open more institutions? Why should they allow so much of the money? And secondly, what has been done to in order to take care of this situation?
Absolutely, sir. So the government of India has, seeing the situation of the brain drain, where a lot of the brightest minds are leaving the country at the undergraduate and postgraduate level and going abroad, has set up a lot of new institutions, such as the new AIIMS that have come up in a variety of Indian cities. So the number of IITs has increased to 23. So we have ICERs coming up in a variety of cities, which are specialized on scientific research and development.
But what has been done to prevent this people going abroad?
So one very recent reform was to allow foreign universities to open their campuses in India itself. So apart from that, the government of India also gives a lot of scholarships, such as the 𝐀𝐲 scholarship to students in order to incentivize them to stay in India. So.
Okay.
Aniruddh, what is the issue related with the GM crops? What do you know about it, and what is your opinion?
So the core of the issue related to GM crops is the fact that genetic engineered crops perhaps violate the principle of precaution, because the studies that have been done are not long-term studies and we do not know the exact impact on the health of humans and the environment. So secondly, there is the ethical issue, wherein sir, people argue that humans are playing God, we are reversing or changing millions of years of evolution, and perhaps we don't understand the consequences of these changes itself. Sir.
Okay, fine. So what is your view on this?
Sir, I believe that, like Gandhiji had said, that science without ethics can lead us to destruction. So we should be very sure of the technologies that we are playing with. And additionally, sir, there should be long-term safety studies done to the extent of 5 to 10 years to ensure that all effects of these GM crops are characterized sufficiently, sir.
Okay. Cancer is said to be uncurable disease. What is wrong in the research we are doing? We are investing a lot of money in the research in cancer. What is wrong in this? Why we are not getting solution?
So I believe that the reason why the solutions to cancer are so evasive is, number one, because of the nature of disease, but so number two, because we are focusing on the symptoms and not the root cause of the disease. So the symptoms of the disease include the creation of the tumor, a lot of the new blood vessels that are created near the tumor, and we are focusing on the specific genes or drugs that focus only on the symptoms, and we don't have a holistic approach to deal with cancer. So the number one solution to this would be to ensure that there is a preventive approach and ensure there is faster diagnosis. So because cases of cancer that are detected in the first stage have a more than 300% higher rate than stage 3, sir. So these are the primary two issues in my opinion.
Okay. What are the various contributions do you think of biotechnology in agriculture?
So the first and foremost, I believe, would be that of the genetically modified crops, the success of which we have seen in BT cotton.
Okay.
So the second would be with regard to a lot of biofertilizers that have been made. And additionally, sir, we also see new methods of biological control agents being brought in to ensure that there is an ecologically sustainable way of controlling plants, of controlling pests and weeds, sir. So apart from that, sir, so there are biofertilizers. And so these are all I can think of, sir.
Do you think any solution from the biotechnology to get rid of pollution problem?
Indeed, sir. So in the case of air pollution, sir, the Pusa decomposer solution that has been created by the Delhi government is based on a fungi, sir.
This is one.
Additionally, sir, in the issues of water pollution, we have a lot of phytoremedial plants that can be grown inside the water or on the banks, and these absorb the heavy metals out of the rivers and ensure that the water is cleaner than it was before, sir.
My last question. Now it is said that New Delhi is no longer suitable city for capital. What city do you think is the best suitable for new capital of India, and why?
So may I take some time to think about it, sir?
Yes.
Sir, I believe in the long-term context of our country, assuming that there will be issues related to climate change, etc. in the future, I believe Chandigarh can be a suitable capital, given the fact that the climate is a lot better than Delhi. And additionally, if we choose a city that's on the coast, that might have problems of incoming water, etc. So Chandigarh, I believe that being on the foothills, being somewhere close to a lot of the industrial centers in the country, would serve as an ideal capital, given that it already has infrastructure related to government functioning already, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Tell me, according to you, which of the Gandhi's preachings are relevant today and which are irrelevant today?
Sir, I believe that the one teaching related to means and ends, that we should focus on the means and purity of means as opposed to ends, is the one that is perhaps most relevant today.
Okay.
And sir, speaking about the irrelevant one, sir, I believe the Gandhian system and his vision for what he had said about village republics has now perhaps become redundant, because we see that the Indian state has been very successful. And while we can co-opt that system into our very own system, so I believe that his essence of a core Gram Rajya has become somewhat redundant, sir.
Well, why don't you compare it with, say, Panchayati Raj system and the recent impetus on self-reliance at the village level?
Sir.
Can it be correlated?
Absolutely, sir. So I believe that grassroots level democracy and the Panchayati Raj system is a very positive way to ensure rural development. However, sir, it is seen that these Panchayati Raj institutions require handholding and support by the state and the central government, sir.
And what were his views on industrialization?
So as far as I can recall, sir, Gandhiji had said that we should go with industrialization with a lot of caution, and we should focus on the work that we do with our own hands, and the large industrialists should be trustees and should give a lot of the money that they earn back to society.
What is a democracy? What can be the best possible definition for a democracy?
Sir, I believe that rule by the people is the shortest and perhaps the best definition of
Now, on this parameter, can you compare the democracies in Pakistan, Nepal and Bhutan? Are they actually democracy or something else?
Sir, I'm not exactly aware of the political systems in Bhutan and Nepal, sir. So I'm aware that they are democracies. I'm aware that there is an election system and there is voting. However, sir, I'm not aware of whether or not there are federal
Then let's
systems.
skip that. Tell me, what do you think is the relevance of Prasar Bharati as a public broadcaster today in the age of social media and more electronic interactions? Do you think Prasar Bharati is still relevant? The two wings, that is All India Radio, PIB and Doordarshan.
Absolutely, sir. So I feel, if anything, Prasar Bharati has found a newfound relevance in today's world. And this is exemplified by the fact that the Prime Minister uses All India Radio to give his Man Ki Baat channel.
That's because this Prime Minister is using. Maybe 5 years henceforth, 10 years henceforth, there will be someone who will not be doing Man Ki Baat. Apart from Man Ki Baat, what is the other relevance?
So, in today's time of misinformation and disinformation and fake news, the one thing that Prasar Bharati gives and the government communication gives that perhaps is nowhere else is trust and credibility. So, whenever there is a news on AIR or Doordarshan, these still enjoy the most amount of credibility. And in an era of post-truth and fake news, so I believe that these are essential to ensure that there is at least some legitimate and credible source of information.
What changes you would like in Prasar Bharati?
Sir, I believe the first change would be to adapt to the new technologies, so which Prasar Bharati has started to do by coming on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. So additionally, sir, there is a lot of inefficiency with regard to the cable transmission, etc. We have a lot of terrestrial transmitters which are eating away a lot of funds. So efficiency and utilization of funds is required, sir.
Aniruddh,
Ma'am.
you are into anti-aging research and all, but we are seeing a rise of anti-aging industry also. How do you see this?
Ma'am, the anti-aging industry is something that has come up in the past 10-12 years. And unfortunately, ma'am, a lot of these industries that have come up sell placebo pills that are not really working. Ma'am, there is unfortunately very little regulatory structure with regard to a lot of these supplements that they are selling, because they don't have any drugs in them, as defined chemically drugs inside them, which is why they can sell and make claims that are not usually verifiable, ma'am.
So this anti-aging industry and consumerism is something which is creating a lot of problem in the society right now.
Indeed,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay, there are two terms, geopolitics and geoeconomics. What do they mean?
Ma'am, in today's globalized world, we see that the politics of all nations are somewhere, because of globalization, interlinked, and geopolitics refers to the interlinking and the ancillary effects of the politics of global countries on each other. And similarly, ma'am, there is a contagion effect seen in the case of economics as well, as was underlined by the 2008 financial crisis and the COVID crisis. Ma'am, geoeconomics basically means that the economies of all the countries are interlinked.
So according to your definition, geopolitics, tell me what is the geopolitics of Indo-Pacific?
Ma'am, currently the geopolitics of the Indo-Pacific has come to increased relevance due to the geographical importance of the region, given that the South China Sea has become a center of contention on a global level. Additionally, ma'am, USA wants to ensure that China's incursion into parts of Indian Ocean are somewhat limited, which is why we have seen groups like Quad come up and have increased relevance in the recent years, ma'am.
Okay, if now that you have talked about groups, like Quad is there, then you have AUKUS is there, then you have IPEF also there, Indo-Pacific. But when you look at these groups, and when you look at what India says that we are here for freedom of navigation, we are here to promote growth, Sagar, security and growth for all. But we are not into any of the geo-economic groupings, we are just into your geostrategic groupings.
Indeed, ma'am.
Why?
Ma'am, I believe that because India faces a direct threat from China in the Indian Ocean, given the fact that China has ports in Hambantota and Gwadar, and is additionally also seeking to make ports in places of Southeast Asia, India has focused on the geopolitical groups, while in the geo-economic groups such as the Regional Comprehensive Economic Program of the ASEAN, India chose to stay out to ensure that we can build our own export industry and industry, because a lot of these groups will have dire consequences for our farmers and MSMEs, ma'am.
Is it just the dire consequences or there are other loopholes in our own system also?
Ma'am, as far as I'm aware, I'm only aware of the dire consequences that were noted for the farmers and the MSMEs, ma'am.
Okay. My last question to you. What lessons the world has learned from pandemic as well as from the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict?
Ma'am, the first lesson that perhaps the world has learned from the pandemic is the importance of social relations, which were somewhere perhaps being lost. Everyone has understood the importance of family, understood the importance of friends, and hopefully we as a world would perhaps value them more in the future. Secondly, the second lesson we learned during the pandemic, ma'am, was the natural ability of the environment to heal itself. I mean, the 3 months where there was a permanent lockdown on a global level, we saw rivers such as the Yamuna cleaning itself. We saw a significant decrease in air pollution in cities like Delhi, and a similar change was seen all across the globe. Ma'am, one thing I think that was commonly learned by both of these crises was the fact that we are living in a globalized world where anything that happens in any part of the world has global ramifications, such as the inflation we are seeing in the prices of food, fuel and fertilizer because of the Russia-Ukraine crisis, and similarly the supply chain issues we saw during the COVID crisis.
The lesson that you said, like, come as a family on the global basis also from the pandemic, but I don't think that we have learned it then we have started the war in Europe.
Indeed, ma'am. It's very unfortunate, ma'am, but I feel that everyone at a very personal level has understood the importance of their social
Yes,
relations.
sir.
So, you must be remembering periodical table in chemistry.
Indeed,
Some
sir.
things like,
Absolutely.
are you aware about the transitional state? Why elements are in the transitional state? And why it is unstable rather?
So, so if they lose or gain an electron, yes, sir.
So it remains unstable. Why?
Sir, it remains unstable because I think in their valence shells they require a certain number of electrons to be present.
Okay. There are instances of acid rain.
So,
So what is the reason of the acid rain? What chemical process is involved?
so the core reason of acid rain is the release of sulfur and nitrogen oxides into the atmosphere, primarily through industries and also through agriculture.
And how does it affect us on the earth?
So when the acid rain reacts with the water in the upper atmosphere, it makes acids of hydrogen and nitrogen, which are brought down with rain. So if these fall on the skin, they can have a corrosive impact. If they fall on certain buildings, they can have a corrosive impact. And high concentrations of these in the waters of the world can lead to ecological disaster for the fish.
Organic and non-organic compound chemicals.
So,
Which one we are exporting? 2, 3 important organic compounds we are exporting to the maximum level. Rather, we are number 1 in the world.
sir, in the organic compounds, I'm aware that India imports and exports a lot of petroleum products after refining.
We are okay. Petroleum product okay.
Sir,
And next.
Sir, I'm not aware of any of the
Okay.
specific.
You must be aware about the rare earth metal.
Sir.
Who are these metal?
Sir, a lot of the rare earth metals are heavy metals that are important for the production of electronics mostly, sir. So like lanthanide, actinide, etc. are some rare earth metals.
Okay. We have got a Rabi Corp and the Kharif Corp. Where are the maximum cases of fire and why? You will be monitoring coming in the newspaper, etc. The maximum fires this season of the Corp. This season of the Corp. Any reason? And any specific period?
Sir, I believe that it would perhaps be the Kharif crops. So given that after harvesting a lot of the crops, there is parali burning of the largest Kharif crop, that is rice.
Kharif Corp.
Additionally, sir, given that there are the summer months and the heat is at an all-time maximum, the chances of a natural fire occurring are more. And additionally, sir, because of the monsoon season, perhaps the thunder can be a catalyst for initiation.
But recently some steps have been taken by Punjab government also that regarding to reduce the incidences of these fires.
Sir.
Can you enumerate 1, 2, 3 points, some points which have been done?
So the Punjab government, as one of its first steps, was to increase the awareness of the farmers in order to use technology such as the Pusa decomposer technology. So secondly, Punjab had tried to mirror the Haryana model, wherein the government procured a lot of happy seeder machines, etc., and they were leased out to farmers.
This chemical disasters, India has faced many.
Sir.
Can you recall what 2, 3 chemical disasters and what special rules have been now made, regulation have been made to cater it?
Sir. So the first one that comes to mind is the Bhopal gas
That
tragedy.
is very old.
Sir.
I think people have forgotten recently regarding the Bhopal gas tragedy. But recently,
So very recently there was a leak of polystyrene or styrene, sir, I'm not sure, near Chennai, sir. So that is the last one that I can recall, sir.
okay, till what are the mitigations?
So the primary mitigation happens at the stage of ensuring that these compounds are stored in a stable form, so which was the main issue with the styrene company. So the second, that there is a liability clause that all of these companies are liable to pay, and because there is a liability clause in a capitalistic society, perhaps that is the greatest deterrent, sir.
Last question, tell me why IED are so explosive and so commonly used? So explosive and so commonly used.
So the IEDs.
That is border case, many day and night newses are coming for the in the Naxalite area, non-Naxalite area also.
So IEDs are most commonly used because it is very easy to procure the materials by which they are made.
But tell me, as a chemical engineer, what composition is there?
Sir, I'm not aware of the...
Okay, then what is the reason?
So the primary reason is that it's very easy to procure the raw materials and to combine them to make an IED, which is why, sir, they can be used from common materials such as soap, metals, etc. that are found in the markets.
Okay, that's all.
Right, Aniruddh, we'll call you for our feedback.
Sir.
Thank you.
Sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.